So per the last video, I wanted to go over and make sure you understood these, so I made up a couple of myself. I made them a little bit more difficult just to remind you how to do these problems. It's been a while, so you may have forgotten. All right, first thing you're going to do is, here, I'll do it in different colors, is, well, I'll do blue. I'll do green. I don't know, I can't make a decision. Subtract 3. Probably need a new pink pen. Just like when you're solving for x. If you're struggling here, I need you to be brave enough to text me. Say, can you just remind me how to do this? It's been a while, I forget. Because this is something that I'm expecting that you're remembering how to do. And if you don't, that's when you need to text me. Okay? I'm not going to get upset. I get disappointed when you don't take the initiative to make sure you're ready for this. Okay? So, x plus 2 equals. Whenever we square root, there's got to be plus or minus. Whenever we have a negative, you need to think of the letter I, because it's imaginary. That means the square root of -1. And then I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to birthday cake 8, 2, 4, 2, 2, 2, 1. Circle the double. That's what goes on the outside. What you don't circle goes on the inside. So I'm going to come over here, 2i rad 2. Now I'm not done yet, so I'm going to subtract 2. When you're doing this, I want you to hear me. This is the way I want you to write it. When you have this on your quiz, if you don't put it in this order, you will lose a half a point. Do not give me this. I don't like it. It's ugly to me. Okay? We don't start we start off by saying -2 plus or minus. We don't go plus or minus 2i. All right? Now some of you go, Ms. Rifkin, why didn't you box this out, then multiply it by 4, and then add the 3, move the 29 over, set it equal to 0, and solve? You can torture yourself and do that. Okay? I just choose not to. No judgment, just saying that's not what I want to do. All right, now I've got an exponential. So what am I going to do? Just like before, add 1, add 1. 3 to the x equals 8. Now, remember, what if I had the similar problem, but this time it said 2 to the x equals 8? This is when I make the bases the same. And since the bases are the same, x would equal 3. But the problem is, I cannot make the bases the same. So, just like from last semester, if you cannot make the bases the same, you log it, or you can change it to log form. So I will show you 2 different ways. For me, it's just easiest to log it. The little turns big. Solve for x. Okay, and then whatever the value of log 8 divided by log 3 is, let me do that in the calculator, 1 sec. Okay, so log 8 divided by log 3 is 1.89 if I round the nearest hundredth, okay? Now some of you go, I don't want to do that, I'd rather do it a different way. Another way is, when things are in exponential form, you can change them to log form. So you go log of 3, 8 equals x. Now, yes, technically you can plug this into the calculator, but what if you have a simple calculator? So I will not accept you putting that into the calculator. You have to remember the rules. So remember if you had, let's say you had log 2, 8. That's when you would go, oh, okay, log 2, 2 cubed. Little turns big, that turns 1, 3. Or you would turn it to exponential, 2 to the x equals 8, just like before, blah, blah, blah. But here, log 3, 8, you can't do that. So there's a rule that says the log of the big over the log of the base will give you the answer. In base 10, you can use any calculator, okay? But a lot of calculators don't know how to change the base. So again, I will not accept that. You need to put it in base 10. And some of you are like, base 10? Remember, if it doesn't have a base, it's an imaginary base 10. Okay? So that's 8-51. You can do those problems yourself now. Okay? For this one, what they're asking you to do is use the Pythagorean theorem, and I'm going to do this one for you. Okay? Just to make sure we're solid on it. So, remember my a and my b are the ones that have this part. So I'll make that x. So x squared plus 4 rad 3 squared equals 8 squared. Now when we're doing this problem, let me zoom it in. you're going to square the 4, which is 16. And if you square a square root, some of you go, it's just itself. Yes. Or you can go rad 3 is rad 9, and the square root of 9 is 3. Okay? And then x squared plus 48 equals 64. Subtract 48, and you get 16. Square root, x equals 4. And some of you go, Miss Rifkin, why did you do that? I know another way. This reminded me, whenever I see rad 3, it reminds me of a 30, 60, 90. So then that would mean that this is 60 and that this is 30. Based on the ratios, what's across from that? 1. What's across from that? Rad 3. What's across from that? 2. Okay, well, 2 times what gives me 8 times 4? Oh, that's times 4. Oh, that means that times 4, and 1 times 4 is 4. Okay? Whatever you want, you can do it the any way you want to. 8-54, absolute value. I want to remind you of a problem, so I made this one up here. Absolute value means there's going to be 2 answers because it makes a V. And I want to remind you, a V is really one line and another line. But the problem is they cut off the bottom part. Okay? So it's 2 lines, so you have to have 2 answers. So with that being said, I'm going to solve. This -2 is touching. Touching means multiply. The opposite is divide. Anytime you multiply or divide by a negative, you got to switch the direction of the inequality. Now some of you go, Miss Rifkin, I remembered that. Great. I want you to remember that. And not all of us remember. That's why I'm reminding you, okay? Split it. Write it exactly how it is. You can only split it when you're just left with absolute value and then the number on the other side. Then what you do is you take this, flip it, and make it negative. And now you solve. Subtract 5, subtract 5, subtract 5, subtract 5. -4 is less, -4x is less than -1. -4x is greater than -9. Divide -4, divide -4. Anytime you multiply or divide by a negative, what do? Switch. Now you have to decide, is it an and or an or? When you graph this, are they going towards each other? Or are they going away? Are they an and, which would look like this? Okay, I'm doing awesome. And then there's a number here and a number here. Or is it x is less than a number, or x is greater than a number? So some of us are really good visually. I need to actually do it. So I know 1/4 is here, and I know 9/4 is here. Maybe I don't even have to know that 9/4 is 2 1/4. I literally know that if you have 9 4s, that's more than 1 4. Okay, so it would be to the right. Greater than, less than. Oh, they're going towards each other. It's an and. Smaller number to the left, less x, less 9/4. Now, before I go over and keep going on here, there's a couple things I wanted to show you. What did I want to show you? If you were way up here, and let's say that 2 was positive, if it was -8 divided by +2, and you got -4, your answer would be no solution because your absolute value cannot be negative. This can be negative because you still have something on the outside. Okay? All right, so now you've done that. And let's see. Oh, that's the end of the lesson.